you. Well, it's a pleasure to be here, so thank you very much for this opportunity, Tina and the EC committee. I'll just ask you guys, do you know how many ingredients from the Amazon forest we have in our industry? Because you know that Brazil is called the place where we have most biodiversity in the world. The Amazon forest is the most rich region. Then how many Brazilian or Amazonian ingredients we have in our industry? Do you know how many? Hussein?
50.
Yeah, 50. Who else? Jens, Peter?
150.
Three.
150.
Three ingredients. The most rich region in biodiversity in the world has 3 ingredients in our industry: tonka beans, copaiba, and rosewood. So, why am I here? Because I want to show you how we can, with just 3 ingredients, try to impact the development of the region, which is struggling over the years, as you know, deforestation and everything. So, I'm graduated in physics. It's nothing related to essential oils, but I'm totally passionate about essential oils. And when I got into this industry, I found myself. And then I tried to learn more, and I got to the university. I made chemistry. I have a master in chemistry, and I couldn't go any other way. And the idea is to show you how a previous experience in a traditional distillery of rosewood shaped my mindset in terms of what can we do, or what can I do as a Brazilian passionate in essential oils to avoid deforestation, to try to do something that will preserve the forest and generate income for people without destruction. And then I'll pass through trials, the distillation. I think some of you knew Professor Barata, knows Professor Barata, who was my former teacher, gave me this opportunity to learn about essential oils in the past. And then I'll speak about a little how this rosewood plantation started in the Amazon. And then how the extractivism, which is a term that is not English, I think it's a new language thing. We use this term to, well, I'll get into it later, but extractivism is something that we are extracting from an environment to sell all over the world. So this is the location where the first traditional rosewood distillery, where I get in contact with the problem. You see the Brazil map, and then the square, and then the blue the red circle. This was roughly the region that this distillery was in. So just the middle of the forest. It took me 2 days from the river to the distillery, walking in the jungle. So this is my first vision of it. It's not very encouraging, is it? It looked more like a favela. I thought I was going to the forest, and I got to a favela, and I said, oh my God, what am I doing here? And you see the fog? This is 25 degrees Celsius. Imagine the humidity in this place. Your clothes is never dry. You're always humid. This is my camp, my tent, the hammock, and mosquito nets, and that's it. This was home for a while. So this is a shocking image, how this was happening at the time. A guy was cutting a 100-year-plus years old tree to produce essential oils that will go in the most fancy perfumes, and people that are using these perfumes and feeling very well about it, they had no idea what's going on in the forest. And with these people, you see no APIs. The guy is, dealing with a chainsaw with no safety at all. So it's not just the forest thing, it's about the people as well. You see this tractor, it has no brakes. They used to carry all the rosewood on it, and it has no brakes at all. So there's ropes attached to trees when the tractor is going down the hill. Sometimes the trees breaks, and the tractor just go down, sometimes over some people. It happened already. So the point is, no brakes, no safety, no sustainability, no future. The industry ended. This industry is totally ended. There's no more rosewood production in this way. And this shocked me, and that's why I thought about making something different. So this is just me carrying some rosewood. Yesterday, you see how strong I was. So just the other day. So this is an itinerant facility. This lady who ran that factory, he looked for an area for rosewood. Once she see many trees around, she get a map. She'd just bring all the factory to this area and build in a different place. And she kept moving from area to areas where rosewood was found. And this was the first trial that we made with the leaves. It took me months to convince her to give me one day of the distillery to try an industrial trial of rosewood leaf oil.
You look older here.
That's not me. Where am I? Well, I'm taking the picture, of course. So from one tree, we got almost nothing of leaves, because the trees in the Amazon, they are big, but the canopy, it's the leaves, it's very small, the amount of leaves that we can get. So she gave me one tree, and it's not even half of the tank. And then we get the oil. You see how more than this plastic things. At the time, there was no phthalates in essential oils. This plastic stuff, they had no phthalates at the time. This is something new. It was no problem with that 20 years ago. So what came after that? All the things that I saw gave me this energy to try to build something new. So I tried to get rosewood seedlings to São Paulo, it's where I live, and to make a plantation. Didn't work. They can't resist the winter, winter is 20 degrees, okay? The 20 degrees Celsius in the winter time in São Paulo, maybe 10 degrees some days, but it's not cold, as you guys know, in different places in Europe and in the US. So when we try to do something new, it's different to find partners. It took me a while to find partners. Then we had no seedling at the time. We have water issues. Oh, but you are in the Amazon. The water is not a problem. It is. We have a dry season in the Amazon, and sometimes it gets really difficult to grow anything, especially seedlings, which has no roots to get water from the soil. So after many trials and errors, we come up with this farm in this red area, which is 80+% native forest. When I bought it, it was around 17% to 20% deforested, which is the Brazilian legislation limits. When we buy land in the Amazon, we can deforest it, and the maximum is 20%. So, but this is legislation. It doesn't always happen like this. So you can see a deforested area just in front of the farm. This is for cattle, and it's totally deforested. This is the vision of the facility that we come up with. And the right side, you can see some aligned trees. This is tonka beans we have planted a while ago. So in this facility, we have modern equipment. We have houses for the people working for us, very different from what we saw in the previous slides. This is just a general picture of the distillery. And then what we have in the farm. We have now 2 years old trees, small trees, 3 and 9. You see that even 9 years old trees, it's really big. They grown really well. We now learned from trials and errors that with 3 years old trees, we can see in the picture, the trees are ready to be pruned. So we will start pruning it with 3 years old. We don't need to wait until they are big to get oil from the trunk. We're getting oil from the leaves and twigs. And then the last picture shows some trees. They were not 3 years old trees, but 5 to 6 year old trees, 8 months after pruning. So just to show how fast they regenerate. We don't know yet how soon we will be able to harvest it again, because this was the first harvesting. But I think that we will be able to do it once a year. So I don't know. I know there are some initiatives in rosewood in Ecuador, but I'm not aware of that. I don't know anything about that. All I'm going to say is about Brazil and the legislation in Brazil. So rosewood plantations, we are not alone, as I said. Some of the people, some of the other industries planted a while ago because of regulations. They had to plant. And so they are now trying to produce and sell the oil, but they are not legalized. They're trying, they'll get there eventually, but now there's still some illegal rosewood oil in the market because of these people that planted. They are getting it from plantation, but they're not regulated properly. Besides rosewood, we have some different species in the farm, which is Pripioca and Amazon grass. Amazon grass is supposed to be a citronella, Cymbopogon venterianus, but there is a terroir thing in the Amazon, and the oil is a little bit different. And it happened that perfumers like the oil. We showed it in the WPC, and they were, what is this? It's not citronella, it's not lemongrass. It's very interesting oil. Well, what else? It's all about rosewood. Will rosewood have all this impact that I said in the Amazon forest? We will have some, because we can use it to reforestate some areas and have income to people, so they don't deforestate some more for cattle, for soy, or anything else. So I like sustainable extractivism. Well, as I told, extractivism is the process of extracting things from earth to sell to the world market. And in Latin America, it's very common. So I see extractivism as an alternative to conservation of the forest. The value of the land in this region is so low that it's very easy for someone to buy some land, deforest it, sell their woods, and plant soy or raise cattle. So what allows them to stay in the land, creating value for it, and making someone who wants to buy or invade the land more difficult. I want to give them the opportunity to make income from the native forests. And the alternatives that we have in our industries are tonka beans, which are collected from wild trees. We are planting it already, but it takes a while. There are many different species of tonka beans. Sometimes you get the wrong species. I have planted the wrong species, and when we get the seed, odorless. And this odorless is also being sold to world companies, mixed with the good quality tonka beans. And Copaiba is not that easy, but because Copaiba we can plant, but it would take like 50 to 100 years to get some oil tapped from adult trees. But as today, it is collected from the wild, and it generates wealth, income to people living in the forest. So they preserve this area from deforestation. So can the FNF industry help fight deforestation in the Amazon? Hell yeah, of course. How? Adding these ingredients, using these ingredients. I think the industry and we as consumers, if you give value, recognize the value of things coming from good initiatives that will preserve the environment, we'll be doing our part. It's not about paying for someone to plant trees. It's not about contributing to any other company. As consumers, we can make choices that will help to solve it, or not to solve it, to help the problem be solved. And it's about us, the industry, to teach people how to do it, to teach perfumers the value of adding just the smallest drop. I know that there is a budget and everything, but just a small drop will make the difference. Prospecting new ingredients, which is not easy nowadays. It's being more and more complex, difficult with all these regulations coming up. This is just another last slide to show that we are Capi is investing in another brand of food stuff from ingredients made of ingredients from the forest. The idea is to add value. Brazil is selling commodities since forever, and my goal as a Brazilian passionate about nature is to add value to things. So this is Brazil nut and manioc products going to the market. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Wow. I feel like that was a TED talk, since we're in Vancouver. That was fantastic. Thank you. Do we have any questions from the audience? Have one down here. Just wait for the microphone.
Hello, Steve Mannheimer from Kerry. I'd just like to understand better what the regulatory status is of the traditional rosewood oil versus the leaf and twig oil.
There's none. It's the same. It doesn't matter if I'm going to the forest or I'm planting it. They will ask me for a management plan to show them how much wood or wood and leaves I'll get, and they'll measure the amount of oil I'll get, and it's a very complex process. Oh, sorry.
I was asking whether the regulatory status for the U.S. and maybe other markets as a flavoring ingredient would have the same CAS number.
Yeah. Because they were using the trunk and the trees, all the tree was distilled. And we are doing not all the tree, but twigs and leaves. Actually, I'm not an expert on this, but I don't know if there'll be any differences. We are using the same the composition is very, very similar.
And you say the composition is similar. Can you say more about the composition of the two oils?
Not right now. I can send you as many data as you want, but not right now. Thank you.
We have another question over here.
Hi, Eduardo. I'm
Hi.
Julio from Avilan. I'm from Venezuela, neighbor. As passionate as from the Amazon as I am, as well as you, it was shocking for me that you were able to buy land as easy and as cheap in Brazil. For example, in Venezuela, you can't touch the Amazons. Like the only people that are able to exploit are the Indian communities. So we have to partner with the Indian communities to get copaiba, to get tonka beans. And just 3 years ago, I have 5 years in the industry. You have way more. You actually look stronger now.
Fat, more fat.
They were just cutting the whole tree to get the copaiba. They weren't tapping. I guess 50 years. And I'm on the effort on the first question you made, that how many ingredients we have. Just 3, but there's the potential of so many more. And I think there is a way there. For example, we were looking for Bursera Cimaruba, which is Bursera graviolens, is Palo Santo. So we got another Bursera, and it was very interesting doing things with clients. But the thing with clients is that it's so expensive and so messy to get a new ingredient that it's such a barrier of entry. And I just wanted to hear your thoughts, because you said that the Amazon grass was interesting. And we have in our pipeline like 3 or more ingredients to add, and I'm getting that barrier with that. And I don't know. I wanted you to know your thoughts about that.
Well, I started my career in researching new essential oils to the market. I thought I was going to find as many essential oils or aromatic plants as I want and come to the market and sell everything. It doesn't happen like this. It's much more complicated, and it's becoming more and more complicated. There's the regulations and safety issues. And yeah, I know that we have as well, but to bring this from our labs to the industry, I don't know how it's going to be. That's why I changed from research of new essential oils to copaiba, tonka beans, and rosewood, because everything is already registered and people are consuming it. And the space for new things is very, very small, except one big company. And we have an example in Brazil, wants to create things with new essential oils and are paying for it. But it's just one client. It doesn't move an industry or even a company. So I don't know.
Don't you think we should push forward more? Don't you think we should push a little bit harder our clients toward that way, or you just
Even clients are limited by regulations. I would love to. Maybe we can talk more about this afterwards. But the clients are limited to regulations as well, and we have been having these discussions for a while. It's not an easy and clear path. But we can talk more about later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any more questions from the audience? One at the back and then Henry at the front.
Hi, Brittany Graff from doTERRA. I've been hearing through the conference about a new way of looking at sustainability by calculating the carbon impact, basically, of ingredient production. And those who produce synthetics would have a case that there's lots of transportation to get an ingredient from the Amazon to a production facility, and it may have a bigger carbon impact. Do you think there's a way of quantifying the impact on preserving the Amazon forest and in that way preserving carbon sequestration in order to offset the transportation?
Well, I think that there are many ways of compensating carbon, but the cheapest way is reforestation. Maybe not in the Amazon because the forest is still very big, but especially in the south of Brazil, and we are doing it as a company. We are reforestation of some areas, and we are almost carbon neutral by now. And I think there are many land in Brazil that can be reforested, but I'm not sure if in the Amazon. Of course, there are places in the Amazon that can be reforested, but the idea is that we should take care of areas that are not, in a good way, they were not preserved at all. In the south, especially during the sugarcane, moment that Brazil had and still have, coffee, all these areas were deforested, and I think we should start by compensating there. And I don't know much more about how to do this, and I'm not sure if I understood your question. But of course, it's possible to measure the amount of carbon, and I think the easiest way is to plant. We are planting the tonka beans. Tonka beans will be not harvested as a tree. We just collect the seeds. If we consider the tonka beans plantation in our carbon emission, we are over negative in terms of carbon sink. So I don't know if I understood and I answered your question.
I was just throwing out an idea, really.
Okay, maybe we can chat afterwards.
I think Henry's got a question down the front. Thank you for your question.
Hi, Eduardo.
Hi.
You mentioned consumers making more informed decisions. I wondered if you could suggest what we as consumers should be looking for. I know personally I struggle if I was looking for something in the supermarket. So, yeah, what in the marketing or the packaging should we be looking out for?
Just show the consumer an image of a huge factory producing synthetics and of a plantation of essential oils, and let the consumer decide what he wants. It's about the feeling that you have towards the product that you're getting. Will this cause a good feeling? Will you be moved to? You have how do you feel about supporting an industry that is damaging the planet? And how will you feel about the other industry who is trying to build wealth, creating products with natural ingredients that will, help the planet in a way, create more jobs in another way? I think it's all about the feeling that the consumer will have.
Well, yeah, I'm going to paraphrase that. So I think what Henry's also asking, if you think about coffee, in the UK, we can look for fair trade, for example. So you feel good about yourself. You don't really understand it as a consumer, but you feel a bit better about yourself. Is there something similar in your world, or is there a message to IFIAT members that there should be?
Well, if we are considering all these labels are not being truthful and are misleading the companies, I don't want to think this way. Otherwise, we'll just stop everything that we are doing and forget about it because lies are being told to the consumer. I think that we should not trust, but check if this is being done in the good way. I mean, if there's a Fair Wild seal or EcoCert, doesn't matter, fair trade, we as consumers should go and check, or maybe competitors. Competitors is a good way to see how we are going. If they are blaming us or accusing us, maybe we're not doing it in the right way. This is the free market, right? So maybe the competitors checking it's good upon the market. Not on us if you're doing something wrong, but to the market this is good. So we should speak up. We should tell that if you're seeing something wrong, that should be done in a different way.
Is the situation improving for you, or is it getting harder?
Oh, man. I can't tell. I see that some initiatives is going very well, but some are not. People are not claiming they are carbon neutral, they are green, they go green and all stuff, and seals and images and people telling they're green. But in fact, they're just taking advantage of the moment to tell the consumers they're doing something different, but they're not. But this happened all the time. The market was, is trying to mislead the company, the consumers since forever. That's the difficult point. But the thing is, I just wanted to show what we are doing to share the people who wants to do good, that you are not alone. There are more people trying to do things in the right way, and I think we need to have confidence in what we are doing, to do it more, to convince more people to do it.
Do we have a final question for Eduardo? Yeah, one here. Thank you.
Hi, Eduardo Ramon. We know each other for long. Congratulations about your initiative. It's an excellent thing, and I think it's important for all of us. But do the governments, the international organizations are conscious about that? Do they help? Do they support? Do they are not only you, but several people we can do things like that, and it's really at the end affecting to the rest of our lives. Are they supporting that?
Well, not my initiative. I'm not doing it with the support of anyone, but I think there are companies, and I've been hearing this for a while during this week, that are putting so much pressure on their suppliers to be more consistent with the environment protection and everything. So, yes, I think some companies are doing this because the consumer is demanding. So as much knowledge we spread out, as much information we give, good information to the consumer, more they will choose carefully what they are consuming and put pressure on the big companies. It's a wishful thinking, but that's all I have for now. I'm a very small guy.
We can take one more question at the front here. Thank you.
Yeah, Martina Bianchini from IFRA. Thank you for a great presentation. I'm just wondering, it seems to me the rosewood, it falls also under CITES, yeah, the trade of endangered goods, or trees in this case, and under CITES they want to shift this production to sustainable plantations. But then the question is, what does that mean, and what are the criteria, and how do you take a life cycle approach really from the moment you grow something in a forest until the moment it ends up in somebody's cream or consumer good product? I'm wondering if there's not opportunity to write up as an industry a few case studies, maybe take this case, your case, write it up at an association level as a case study and then share it so that you really look at each stage of your life cycle and the opportunities as well as the potential impacts, and then share it with others as perhaps a best practice, or find the areas where you can improve even further.
Yeah, we are doing, this is the first steps. I started planting this 10 years ago with my will, and that was all that I have. So I think the idea of sharing this with you is to get your perceptions so we can improve and come up with procedures and collaborations that will enhance the rosewood or the tonka beans or the copaiba production anyway.
Eduardo, that's all we've got time for, but I think that was a fantastic presentation. Thank you so much. I know that lots of people want to talk to you, but let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.